Hello everyone and welcome to my yet another exciting one of the very important topics, that is grievances. Before I go deep down into this again, my dear friends, let's recapitalize as to what we have done. In my previous lecture, I discussed something related with which is known as grievance. Grievance is nothing but it's just a kind of a discontent, dissatisfaction, any kind of complaint that an employee or a worker can have from the management because of the terms of employment or anything which is arising out of employment. And then we also discussed that what is the meaning of grievance, or what are the features of grievances. Grievances, they can be real, they can be factual, they can be disguised, and above all we also discussed that what are the ways by which we can actually identify the grievance. Now, what is of paramount importance is that I told you last time also that as soon as the grievance is identified, it has to be resolved or it has to be redressed. Because the sooner it is identified, the better it is for the company. Because if it is not resolved some way or the other, it is going to hamper the productivity of an individual as well as the productivity of the entire organization. But above all, what is more important is that as soon as the different methods they are adopted to identify the grievances, they can be either through observation, open door policy, or maybe through suggestion and the gripe boxes, so on and so forth. The management should show his or her eagerness to solve those problems. So if that eagerness exists, naturally people will be little relaxed, and that is what we actually need. Now, the topic that I am going to discuss today is again a very pertinent topic, or the deliberations that I am going to do today is on the causes of grievances. So, by this time we know that what is the meaning of grievance, what is the feature of a grievance, how the grievances they have to be actually identified. So, let us have a look at it that what are the causes of grievances. Now, before we go deep down into the directions or the causes of grievances, let me give you some directions or some kind of a tip that should be kept in mind before any grievance is taken into consideration. Now, that is if the management has received any grievance, then it has to be defined that what kind of nature of the grievance it is. So, before I go deep down into discussing the causes of grievance, let's have some kind of directions which can help us in handling a grievance. So, we have to first receive the grievance, then we define the nature of the dissatisfaction. This kind of nature, it could be a factual grievance, it could be an imaginary grievance, or it can be a disguised one. Just to tell you all that factual is something which is actually true, which is holding true. Imaginary is something because of the wrong perception, if you all remember, perception or wrong information. And disguise is when the reasons are not known to the person only. So, that is why the person is dissatisfied. So, the second one is that we need to get the facts. If anyone is dissatisfied or any complaint or written complaint has been filed, then it is a duty of the management to go deep down and find that what are the real facts pertaining to that problem. Then we have to analyze and divide, and then we have to apply the answer and follow up. That means we have to follow the procedure of identifying or procedure to see who is at fault, and then we have to take action and then do the follow up. Now, there are certain errors also once we are processing any kind of grievance. So, we are not going deep down into the causes. Why I have put this slide here? Because we are going to discuss about the causes today. So, people have stopped investigating, or they are not trying to find out the cause of the grievance. So, that is also a big problem. Then this is one of the error. Then expressing a management opinion prior to the time when all the pertinent facts have been discovered. That means, of course, management is the boss, and if the boss has given their decision or the answer, then nothing can be done further. So, that is also one of the biggest error that is placed. Then second is failing to maintain the proper records. If the management is at fault and records are not there to find out the factual figures, then that's a big problem. Resorting to executive fiat or orders instead of discussing and conference to change the mind. where people they have made up their minds. There's a kind of a mental conditioning on the part of the management. No, this is like this will happen like this. So if there's a kind of a mental blockage which is experienced from the management side, then that is an error. Both the parties, whether the management or the workers or the employees, they should sit across the table with the open-mindedness. Only then the solutions can be sorted out. Then lastly, setting the wrong grievance a mistake, which may in turn produce a second new grievance. So anything which was not there but it has been cooked up, so naturally it aggravates the further problem. So all those things which are mentioned on the screen, these are basically the errors which should be avoided by the management as well as by the workers. Now let's go and find out that what are the various causes of grievances. So we know that if grievances, they are not identified and redressed, mind it, grievances, they are either redressed or they are resolved. They may adversely affect the workers, managers and organization as a whole. Workers, why? Because it is like kind of a mental peace is going, they are disturbed, they cannot focus, they cannot concentrate, so on and so things. Managers, why? Because they are far away from their achievement of the targets. And why organization? Because their overall vision and mission, it is not getting completed. So we see that there can be different kind of causes of grievances, and we know that that discontent can actually arise because of the real or the imaginary reasons also. So ideally they are ones which are resulting from the working conditions, resulting from the management policies and from the personal maladjustment. And above all, what is more important is that the discontent that people they have, it may be voiced, unvoiced, but it must be, there must be some kind of ways by which they can express themselves. So these are the ways which actually they are quite pertinent, and we can actually find it out from our observation also. So any grievance resulting from the working conditions, for example, we know that the grievances can be because of any reason. They can be some economic factors, they can be some external factors, internal factors, there can be a number of factors that can contribute to the causes of the grievances. So the first one which you see on the screen is resulting from the working condition. Now the working condition, it says that more or less the work environment. So it says that it may be undesirable or unsatisfactory conditions of work which can lead to the grievances. For example, improper matching of the worker with the job. Now this is a big problem, because since my dear friends, we are talking about HR, and one of the principle of HR is that the right person should be there at the right place at the right time for the right kind of the job. If this is there, then naturally the predetermined objectives of the company, they can be achieved without much difficulty. But if the person is only placed in the wrong place, if the person is from finance department and the person is placed in the marketing department, there's a mismatch, or the vice versa. So the right person has to be placed at the right time. So at times people, they may not be happy with the current job profile because they are capable of doing something else and the company has given them something else to do. Then change in schedules and procedures. For example, if from the management side, if the schedule has changed, or the could be related with the time slots, it could be related with the shifts or the methods which are being used, then again it's a big problem. Then the third one is non-availability of proper tools and machinery and equipment. Now this is very, very essential. When people are working in an organization, they will require tools and equipments, but if the management fails to provide them, or if the management fails to provide them with the safety equipment, for example, if anyone is doing a welding, so naturally it is expected that the welding glass should be given to the person for the safety of the eyes. If the management fails, then this is a very, very factual grievance. So anything again which is the fault of the management, or where the management is trying to cut corners, or the management fails to provide with certain facilities to the workers or the employees, then it's a cause of concern. Here in the case of non-availability, what we can say also in the case of this machines and equipments, if supposing if defective tools are being given, or poor quality materials are being given, poor quality materials are being given, or at times any unfair rules are made regarding these, or any kind of lack of recognition is there, then these are all the factors were resulting from the working condition. Then bad physical condition of workplace. Now this bad physical condition, it can include your light, air, supposing humidity is there, or maybe anything, fumes are there, maybe the windows, AC, whatever. So if the management fails to provide all these physical things which are needed, maybe table, chairs, fan, AC, or if the proper arrangements are not made for existence of fumes or vapors or anything, or too much of heat is entering into the organization or the room or the premises and the proper shades have not been arranged, this will fall all under the category of bad physical condition. Or maybe we can also talk about here we can also talk about anything which is related with the the washrooms, the drinking water, the staircases, so on and so forth. For example, if proper drinking water is not being given, the washrooms are very dirty, or for example in any organization or in any factory, any work is being done, and as a result too much of water is there, or too much of waste material is there which is lying on the floor, and proper arrangements are not being made to dispose them of, then that can also be a cause of concern, or can be a cause of grievance. So physically where people are working, it has to be neat and clean, properly ventilated, properly covered. If it is a very hazardous place, then the arrangement should be made accordingly, maybe in terms of chimneys, or maybe the exit of the fumes, whatever it is. So that is the bad physical condition of the workplace. Then bad employer and employee relationship. Now we know that in any organization there has to be a very, very harmonious relationship that should exist between the management and the workers. When this relationship is spoiled, naturally it becomes bad, and one of the biggest causes is that lack of communication. If there is lack of communication, that will always lead to misunderstandings. So whenever there are misunderstandings, that will definitely spoil the relations between the two, which is not at all desirable. So the relationship that exists between the management and the workers, and the kind of flow of communication people are experiencing, or if they are not giving a chance to vent out themselves, or people are not giving a chance to say, or they are not made to participate in the management, or they are not given their rights, or anything which they are entitled to, anything, the bad relationship, it can be because of any of these causes, and there can be some other reasons also that contribute towards the bad relationship. So if there exists a bad relationship between the two, so that is also one of the causes of grievances. Then the second is any grievance which is resulting from the management policy. For example, anything related with wage payment. So for example, if the wage payment is not fair, it is not equitable, and it is not even decent enough to maintain that standard of living, then that's a problem. Leaves, if proper leaves are not sanctioned by the management. Now these leaves can be casual leaves, they can be medical leaves, they can be some kind of leaves which is known as earned leaves. They can be earned leaves, or they can be some kind of parental leaves, they can be some kind of vocational leaves, they can be number of kind of leaves. So if proper number of leaves are not given by the management to the workers, so that can also be one of the causes of the grievances. And leaves are very important for the person to maintain that mental peace, I should tell you that. Second one, which the third one which you can see on the screen, is all related with overtime. Overtime for the work which you have done. For here, what is more important, where you are not being paid any money for the time that you are spending over and above your required timings. So ideally it is always desirable that if the worker is doing some kind of overtime, person is entitled to get something, some wages or money, or some compensation in regard to the time which he or she is giving, or any kind of compensatory leave can also be sanctioned to the people. Then seniority and promotion. Now in the case of seniority and promotion, naturally this promotion is actually based on seniority. Promotion is actually given on the basis of two. One is the seniority and another is on merit. So it all depends upon the company that what kind of they are bringing into this, whether it is seniority or merit, or it can be the combination of both of them. So if there is any kind of partiality or transparency is not maintained, or people who are not good enough to get promoted, they have been promoted, and if the Mr. X was supposed to get promoted, so all those things, they will definitely bring that kind of dissatisfaction and discontent amongst the people, or on an individual level also. Then transfer, if people have been wrongly transferred, or if their transfer is due, they are not being given any kind of transfer in spite of repetitive written request. So if their request is not sanctioned, if they are not given the priority over sanction, if they are not given the priority over transfer, they were entitled for the transfer but they are not given. So any aspect which is related to transfer will also constitute to be one of the causes of grievances. Then lack of career development program. My dear friends, we have talked enough about the training and development. We know that a person would always like to work with an organization that gives them the career progression in forms of growth and development. So if there are no career development program, the government, not the government of course, but the maybe the management or the organization is not giving them any growth opportunities, maybe in terms of training or in terms of education, in terms of any qualification, or in case of anything. So that is a kind of a grudge that people have within, and once they start having that kind of grudge, that would definitely cause discomfort to them. Then lack of role clarity. If you all remember, we came across this word when we were talking about the performance appraisal. So naturally, it is said that the people, they should always live up to the expectation of the company, and then it is very important at that point of time that the management as well as the workers, both of them, they know what is expected out of them. So at times, if there is no clarity as to what is expected, what are the targets, or where the person has to work, which machinery the person has to work, under whom the person has to do the task, so on and so forth. So naturally, people will feel uncomfortable in such situations. So these are the causes which are caused because of the management policy. And at times in the case of management also, we can have something related with supervision also. For example, if the if any kind of people are not given right kind of supervision, or maybe the attitude of the supervisor towards the employee is biased, or favoritism is there, nepotism is there, or anything which is related with the regional feelings, or casteism is there, all those things, they will again make the people feel uncomfortable. Or if the management is such, like if the management is such that the management itself is biased, or favoritism is there, or nepotism is there, or anything which is related with their caste, anything which is related with their religion or region, both of them. So again, if people are demarcated on such issues, or the policies are such, then definitely it is a cause of concern. Then the third one is the causes which are resulting from the personal maladjustments, for example, over ambition. So if anyone who is very over ambitious and the person is not given the right kind of treatment, or the person is not given the right kind of platform to exhibit his or her talent or show or skill, then the person feels irritated or frustrated. So anybody who is very, very ambitious and the company is not able to live up to the expectations of the people, or the employee, or the worker, so naturally people will not be happy, or they will not be putting in their best foot forward. Then anything excessive self-esteem. Now people feel that okay, here self-esteem is too high. It's like I, me, myself. So if people start talking about all these three words, then the problem comes in. Rather, the best way is that like me has to get converted into we. So if we are able to convert me into we, only then everyone is happy and satisfied. So too much of excessive self-esteem also results in the cause of the grievance, which is not at all desirable. And above all, this self-esteem or being over excessively, it will actually hamper interpersonal relationships. So when the interpersonal relationships, they are not good, then people will not be able to adjust. Properly, and maybe they are not able to adjust with their colleagues, and at times they may get a feeling of neglect. They feel that, okay, I am being neglected. Or there may be a new word, which is victimization is there, and then they feel that, okay, a person is the object who can be humiliated. The person can be humiliated or ridiculed. So all these things, if person is humiliated or ridiculed, it will definitely make the person feel very sad. And of course, once you are sad or once you are in a melancholy mood, that the grievance will definitely creep in. And lastly, it talks about the impractical attitude to life. People feel that, okay, whatever they say, it should be followed. Whatever they feel, it should be honored. It is not possible. So one has to have that kind of practical approach in life. They should know how to work in teams. They should know how to work in groups. They should understand that they are working in an organization where different personalities and or different people are working at one place, hailing from different culture, caste, creed, sex, religion. So how are you going to mingle with them? That is very essential. So people who do not have that kind of team spirit, or people who do not know how to work in a team, and those who have very, very high excessive self-esteem of I, me and myself, they are the ones who are very, very dissatisfied in any of the organizations. Apart from those ones which we have done, that there can be some other kind of grievances also that can come in. For example, anything which is related with the promotions, we have already discussed that. Anything which is related with the facilities. Now, facilities, it can be anything which can be related with your allowances, anything which is related with your perquisites. Like allowances and perquisites, these allowances, they can be anything. For example, they can be, if you all remember, my dear friends, we had done a session on fringe benefits. So all those things, if they are not being provided by the company, people may not feel settled, and people may not feel contented and complacent. So any kind of allowances, maybe traveling allowances, or maybe the hotel allowances, or maybe the food allowances, or anything related with their children, for example. So this is all these things, or maybe LTC that people they get. So all these things, they are basically in a part of the government organization. So at times these things, they are also given by some private organizations also. So if absence of these allowances and amenities will definitely cause a discomfort to the workers and the employees. So it is always desirable that it should be there, or the present any kind of amenities related with anything, holidays, paid vacations, or maybe the memberships, or maybe anything related with the environment or work culture, or maybe supervision, or maybe the allowances related with their child allowances, traveling allowances, food allowances, whatever, a lot of things are there. So they should be there. If they are missing, then it's a cause of concern. Then continuity of services, like when people have job insecurity, they know that my job is not secure, then of course that is a cause of concern for them. Then in the case of this, we have got something related with fines. So this is all related with discipline. So if a person has been performing misconduct, or if the person has not done what actually expected out of him, and then the fines have been imposed. So any kind of fines they are imposed, they are the way of penalizing a person for the misconduct which he or she has actually done. So too high a fine, or wrong fines have been done, or the grievance or the kind of misconduct was not that very grave that the fine should have been imposed, or if they are very exorbitant, then again they are cause of concern. Then number 5, compensation, salary. Compensation actually includes salary and wages. So if the salaries, they are not up to the mark, or if the salary figures, they are not up to the mark, the pay bands are not good enough, or the salaries are not released well on time, or maybe the hikes, the salary hikes that they get, if they are not given well on time, then it can cause discomfort amongst the people. Then increments, everyone feels happy when they are given increments, maybe the annual increments, or maybe 6 monthly increments, or maybe increments can be a part of appraising the performance of an individual also. So if increments have been declared, they have not been given, or if they have not been declared at all, whatever the condition is. So both the ways, increment is one of the cause of discontent or grievance for the workers. Then disciplinary action. This is a beautiful chapter which I have actually written in my book. Disciplinary action is like, it's all expected that people are going to adhere to the rules and regulation of the company. At any point of time, if anybody violates the rules and regulation in terms of anything, so naturally it will call for a penalty. So it all depends upon whether the misconduct is of minor category or of major category, and accordingly the action would be taken. So at times people are not happy with the kind of disciplinary action which is taken by the management, but however, my dear friends, it's a kind of a learning lesson for others not to do that kind of mistake or commit that kind of misconduct. So people may be dissatisfied because any action which is taken in the disciplinary or a disciplinary action, it can be in form of number of ways. For example, your increments can be withheld, your salary can be stopped, you may be terminated, you may be suspended, oral warnings are given, written warnings are given, lot of other ways. So it all depends what kind of the mistake that you have done or the kind of misconduct that you have conducted. Then wages, again we have already discussed. Acting promotion, people are expecting that they will be promoted, but they are not given promotion, or if wrong promotions are given, or there is some kind of nepotism, favoritism, biasness which has been there in promoting employees. Then transfers, again people who were supposed to get transfer, they are not getting transfer, or wrong transfers have been done, or transfers have been done as a part of the promotion, or transfers have been done as a part of demotion. So if the transfer is done as a part of demotion, then people may be very, very dissatisfied. Then recovery of the dues. If some dues are there, again strict action has been initiated by the management to recover that. That will cause dissatisfaction. Then superannuation, if superannuation policy is there or superannuated people are not given what they are expected out of them, then that can be a cause of concern. Then safety appliances, as I told you, there's a word which is known as a PPE, personal protection equipment. For example, people who are going down into mines, or people who are going as a firefighters, for example. So it is expected that they will be given some kind of protection, or the equipment should be provided by the management. So at times management, they try to cut corners, they try to save money, and they do not provide such things. So if protection equipments, they are not given to people, or any tools or machineries, they are not given to people, then that's a big concern, because that would be a threat to their personal life, which management at times ignores, because the management, as I told you, management always tries to cut corners, they want to make save money. So times management people, they do it, and it's quite practical also. So it says that the safety appliances, they should be given to people. Absence of these safety appliances is a cause of concern, or is a cause of grievance for people. Then supersessions, or maybe people are made to work for long hours without any breaks, or anything which is related with their working hours and maybe the working situations, all those things. Then number 15, as I told you, victimization in my previous slide. So victimization is basically where you become an object of humiliation. Or ridicule. So every time you are caught hold, people are making fun, but still you're not able to do it. So somewhere or the other, your protection, your mental peace is getting hampered. So victimization is one of a very, very common aspect. People who are very humble, and they are the ones who are the victims. But again, you have to be very strong enough to take a strict action against such people. So you have to vent out yourself. So if there's a grievance, then you have a right to write or tell management that this is is happening, and then management is good enough, only then they will take an action. And lastly, it talks about the conditions of work. So condition of work, again, it can be all related with your maybe the physical environment, the light, sound, AC, air, fumes, the hazardous positions, all those things, they have to be actually removed. And the basic facilities that an individual expects in a workplace, if they are missing, naturally people will not be happy. So we know that in these also at times, there can be some kind of economic grievance causes can be there. For example, some of them which are missing here, for example, it can be anything related with bonus. For example, so if bonus has not been declared, or if the dividends are not declared, or if the profit sharing is not done, or if there is a kind of inequality treatment, right? So if people are not treated properly, inequality treatment is done to the people, and then maybe anything related with awards is there. So all these things, they will combine in together, and they are actually the causes of grievances. So these were the causes of grievances. Now, before I end this presentation, I want to tell you that now we know that what is the meaning of grievance. We also know that what is the feature of grievance. We also know what are the different types of grievances. For example, they can be some factual, imaginary, disguised, individual, group, union based grievances, any type, anything can be there. And now we also know that what are the different causes of grievances. All those grievances resulting from supervision, management policy, personal attributes, and other things which are related with the work of conditions of work, anything related with creche facility, anything related with transfers, transportation, eating, allowances, amenities, food, a lot of things which we have just discussed. But my dear friends, why do you think it is important to resolve or redress a grievance? So here the slide that you see on the screen, it talks about the need. Why there is a need for a grievance handling. So it says that grievances may affect not only the employees and managers, but the organization on the whole. As I told you earlier also, that these grievances, if they are left unattended or they are not resolved at the earliest, they will be detrimental to the interest of all the three, the employees, the managers, and the company. Employees, why? Because they will not be able to focus. If they are not able to focus, it will hit their productivity, and if their productivity is getting hit, the repercussions of the same. And for the managers, they will be far behind achievement of their targets. And of course, for the company is what? And again, it is made up of the individuals and the groups who are working together for the attainment of the predetermined goals of the company. So naturally, the company will not be able to attain those goals. So it is very essential that the grievances that have been identified. We have also talked about the identification of grievances. How do we identify, or the methods by which the grievances, they can be identified with the help of maybe open door policy, exit interviews, or maybe through gripe boxes, or maybe through questionnaires, opinion polls, or maybe by simple observation. So whatever way by which we are able to identify the grievance, there is a need to resolve them as soon as they are identified. Second, what is more important is why there is a need, because here the management has to identify and redress the grievances in the prompt manner. Now, what is the meaning of prompt manner? There has to be some kind of willingness that has to be shown by the management to the people that yes, they are ready to resolve their problem at the earliest. So any kind of assurance given by the management to the people also will definitely make people little mental peace would come to them very easily. So that prompt manager, that means the decision to resolve the grievances, it should not be delayed. This is what we can say. Now then, if the individual grievances, they are left ignored and unattended, there is a danger that these grievances may result in collective disputes. That is what I told you, that it's always better to identify the grievance or the complaint or the level or the cause of dissatisfaction. The moment it is identified, it should be nipped in the bud. That means we should try to stop it then and there, because if we do not do that, then it can take a very, very severe shape of a dispute, and dispute is too bad for any organization. So every company, they feel that okay, any grievance which they have been able to identify, they are ready to resolve it. They are showing the eagerness to resolve it then and there. So it's very essential to resolve it at a very early stage only. And lastly, they affect the employee morale adversely. As I told you, why the morale? Of course, that would be the team. Naturally, it is going to hinder their peace. It would get reflected in their productivity, in their performances. So naturally, if it is not that kind, of course, their future progression gets a break. It gets a break. It stops then and there only. Hence, it is essential to have a proper grievance handling procedure for the smooth functioning of the organization. So, my dear friends, this was all about the need for handling the grievance procedure. So, I hope that by this time you understand the concept of grievances, what is the meaning of grievance, its features, the way it is identified, and of course, the different kind of causes are there why people are dissatisfied. So, that's all that I have for you in this lecture. In my next lecture, I will be continuing with the grievance, and I will be discussing the grievance handling procedure and other few important concepts. Thank you so much for being with me. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much once again.